language. We begin with the fuel importation saga, and Kenya's fuel scandal is widening, shaking the very foundations of the energy sector. 3 senior officials have already been forced out, yet the Cabinet Secretary for Energy, Opiyo Wandayi, remains in office. Tonight we ask, how did irregular fuel waivers and billions in questionable imports happen under his watch? Was he unaware or complicit? KTN is in possession of letters showing the waivers on fuel quality were formally approved at cabinet level, decisions copied to his office. Meanwhile, EPRA has appointed Dr. Joseph Okech as Acting Director General. This story was produced by Vera Mura and voiced by Jesse Rogers.
The board yesterday afternoon received the resignation of the Director General, Mr. Daniel Kipto Barboria's resignation notice. The board thanks the former Director General for the dedicated service to the authority and wishes him well in his future endeavors.
Kenya's fuel scandal continues to unravel, shaking the foundation of the country's energy sector and exposing deep cracks in governance. So far, 3 senior officials have exited the stage. Daniel Kipto, former Director General of the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA; Joe Sang, former Managing Director of the Kenya Pipeline Company; and Mohammed Liban, the former Principal Secretary for Petroleum. All stepped down amid allegations of falsified fuel stock data and irregular emergency fuel purchases worth billions. Yet, as their juniors are forced out, one question looms large. Why does Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi remain in office? The man who holds the docket currently embroiled in the fuel scandal. As the scandal sweeps away his juniors, the Energy CS remains firmly in office, a fact that raises uncomfortable questions. How could irregular fuel stock data, inflated emergency purchases, and questionable regulatory decisions unfold under his watch without his knowledge? If he knew, why has he not taken responsibility? If he did not, what does that say about the effectiveness of his oversight? The persistence of his tenure while directors and principal secretaries fall suggests either selective accountability or a deliberate shielding of power at the very top. KTN is in possession of 2 letters that expose the deeper fault lines in the scandal. Previously, the ousted PS Mohammed Liban had written to KEB's Managing Director Estangare seeking approval of the waivers. 2 days later, the waiver was instead granted by CS Lee Kinyanjui, referencing Liban's letter. In other words, the documents show that waivers on fuel quality and conformity standards were formally approved at cabinet level by the Office of the Trade Cabinet Secretary. However, the approval came with conditions, key among them that the importer must indemnify KEBS against any unexpected consequences arising from the said waiver. In essence, while junior officials have been pushed out, the document reveals that decisions to bend rules on specifications and penalties were endorsed and copied to CS Opiyo Wandayi himself. This raises sharper questions. Was he unaware of the waivers being granted under his ministry's watch, or was he complicit in authorizing them? Either way, the paper trail ties the scandal directly to his office, making his continued stay in power even more contentious. Meanwhile, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations has summoned 2 more EPRA directors to record statements in connection with the scandal. Edward Kenywa, Director of Petroleum and Gas, recorded his statement yesterday. John Mutua, Director of Economic Regulation and Strategy, appeared today at the DCI headquarters. In the midst of the turbulence, Dr. Joseph Okech, EPRA Director of Electricity and Renewable Energy, has been appointed Acting Director General.
EPRA board appointed Dr. Engineer Joseph Okech as the Acting Director General. of Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority.
Among those interviewed for the position was Cyprian Nyakundi, Director of Public Education, Advocacy and Consumer Affairs, and Simon Chaplel, Director of Corporate Services. Whether this leadership reshuffle restores public trust or superficially patches up serious problems remains to be seen.
Let's still stick